In this video, I'm going to show you how to solve the ALEKS problem called setting up a one-step unit conversion. I think this problem is set up a little bit tricky. It's not super clear what ALEKS is actually asking you to do. In this problem, ALEKS is going to give you a number with units, and it's asking you to identify a conversion factor that you could use to convert the units of the original provided number. It's not actually asking you to carry out any math, and I think that makes this problem a little bit confusing for some students when they initially look at it. I've flipped through a lot of versions of this problem, and they all look pretty much exactly like this. There is going to be one unit in the problem that you're not being asked to change. So in my problem, it's the mole unit. I'm not being asked to change that. Then there is going to be another unit that you are asked to change. For my problem, I'm being asked to change joules into kilojoules. Once you know which unit you're being asked to change, you can really just focus on that. So I'm going to not pay attention to the moles. And also, the number that is provided to you, you're not going to pay attention to that either. And that feels really weird. ALEKS is just asking you for what is the conversion factor that you would use to go from joules into kilojoules. That's it. So it is going to be helpful, especially if you don't have the prefixes memorized or if ALEKS is throwing a weird prefix at you. It's going to be helpful to pull up ALEKS's data tab. So if you click on the data tab button, there is a set of SI prefixes in the data tab, and you can pull that up as a reference. Really handy. And what you want to do on that table is just find the prefix that is relevant to your problem. So for my problem, the prefix kilo is a relevant one, and ALEKS is letting me know that kilo represents 10 to the third. So that's really handy. The conversion factor that I'm going to use in this particular spot, I'm going to try to squeeze it in here. I want to set it up so that the joule units are down on the bottom of the conversion factor so that those units will cancel. And I want the kilojoule unit to be up on top of the conversion factor because that's where I want the kilojoule unit to ultimately end up. ALEKS's data table is telling me that kilo represents 10 to the third. That means 1 kilo is 10 to the third joules. And that's really kind of jammed up there. So I'm going to move this out of the way to make it a little easier to see. 1 kilo is 10 to the third joules. And that's literally all that you're going to do for this problem, which again, like I said, it just feels kind of weird. You're just going to use this fraction tool over here, and in this box, you're just going to create a fraction, and you're going to fill this in. Don't forget to include the units. You may, just based on the formatting of ALEKS, you may need to enter this as 1 times 10 to the third instead of just straight up 10 to the third using this feature right here. Although I see this, you could probably use this button to do 10 to the third. That seems like that would work perfectly fine. But again, it just feels kind of weird because it's not actually asking you to carry out the conversion. It just wants that conversion factor.